So I don't usually cover post-game press scrums, but I thought the end of series retrospective by the Edmonton Oilers was pretty interesting, both from the players Yamamoto and McDavid and Jay Woodcroft. Woodcroft actually really impressed me with his breakdown of this series. He reflected on the fact that they were really confident the entire time. There was drama and some swings, but he said they felt like they were the better team. One of the most interesting parts, I think, was his discussion of one of the big Edmonton Oiler controversies. How do you run McDavid and Draisaitl? He said that having the flexibility to both spread them across the lineup is great, but also when playing a defensive stalwart like the LA Kings, putting them on the same line gives you the obvious possibility of magic, and you need to be flexible with how you play. He also responded to what the media called the fourth liners stepping up, and the Edmonton media at the back of the room laughed because Jay Woodcroft doesn't call them fourth liners, and if you look at Yamamoto, he's not exactly a bruiser, and their fourth line is definitely more of an energy line, which to be honest is how many fourth lines in the NHL work nowadays, but they were also running 7D, so what he called his two other skilled players essentially were filling in where needed. Moving on to the players interview though, McDavid, he's still really boring. Just the way he talks, he's the total hockey player designed in a lab. However, he did say a few interesting things, and it started off in a funny way when he called Yamamoto little guy. Like, usually you only call another man little guy if he's not a little guy, and Yamamoto is. But the most interesting thing that I took away from him was when he acknowledged that most people in the NHL see the Edmonton Oilers as a 2 or 3 man team, alluding to the fact that, yeah, it's seen as him and really just Draisaitl who carry the team. I was surprised by this because usually NHL players go out of their way to not even acknowledge anything, which puts themselves in the spotlight. Is that realistic to how they actually think? No, but I mean, that's what media training does. But I mean, if you look at the Oilers this postseason, they got that depth scoring. Evan Bouchard, 10 points. But we also saw 3 goals from Kane, I guess his depth scoring, Costin, and other players even on the defensive end, like Matthias Ekholm, really made this team feel significantly different than they did last season. One thing that I'm curious about, what will this next series get out of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Darnell Nurse? These are the two, again, I don't want to call them depth players other than McDavid and Draisaitl really, that I want to see really step up for the Oilers to win this next series. But I think it was appropriate that Yamamoto ended up closing out Game 6. But that's just my thought. Let me know yours down below.